I used to live in this place that I called comfortably miserable. I didn't tell anyone else that. It's just what I called it to myself. And it's certainly not the most tragic place to be. But just like heart disease that slowly progresses over the years, it can kill you one day. The problem is, today, what you do today, probably doesn't feel like it matters. Being comfortably miserable is just satisfying enough to keep you from risking change and experiencing the discomfort of growth. But it's not fulfilling enough to make you truly alive. Smoldering along, comfortable enough you don't need to change anything right now, but maybe dissatisfied, maybe in your career, marriage, financial situation, or health. It's a really dangerous place to be. And there are plenty of obvious life problems that demand action, and it's hard to miss those. Things like job loss, divorce, death in the family, sudden health problems, etc. But being comfortably miserable is different. It's deceptive. You don't need to change anything today because it's not a crisis. I know this predicament well because I lived in that place for many years. And from the outside, my life looked fine. A professional career, not rich, but comfortable, a father and husband, there was stability. But under the hood, I was deep in people-pleaser mode, pretending everything was fine, going along to get along. I was not enjoying my career, but I felt trapped. I was in an emotionally disconnected marriage where, despite my attempts to lead and parent collaboratively, I was repeatedly undermined and emasculated. Nothing was ever good enough. And at some level, I convinced myself that that was just life. I honestly saw no way out of that dissatisfaction, so I just kept grinding away. I was too afraid to disrupt the status quo. I turned off the emotions and kept pushing forward. And when you get really good at this, you can completely abandon any shred of your authentic self that's remaining until you feel like a robot on autopilot. In my case, everything eventually fell apart and I was forced to make changes. It was a few years of hell, but honestly, I don't know where I'd be now if I hadn't gone through that. Looking back on those years, I realize how perfectly I lived the analogy of the frog in the slowly boiling water. Things just kept getting a little worse, but I convinced myself, it wasn't that bad. I should focus on gratitude, right? And sure, I did have a lot to be thankful for, but blind gratitude can be a cop-out when we know we're ignoring things that we need to change. I tried to meditate away my inner turmoil. Maybe it was just my monkey mind. I thought if maybe I could just learn to be still inside, I'd be fine. But I learned you can't meditate away a life of dissatisfaction. Sometimes you need to listen to the internal alarm bells instead of trying to silence them. Sometimes they're trying to tell us something. I tried to minimize my unhappiness to myself. What I didn't realize was the cost of inaction. If being comfortably miserable were an investment, it'd be a slam dunk because the cost of inaction compounds over time. And what feels like somewhat manageable at 35 can become crushing by the time you're 50. Looking back, I can see the gap between who I was and who I could have become, and the longer I stayed comfortably miserable, the harder it was to bridge that gap. My message to you is this. If you're comfortably miserable, you don't have to wait for a crisis to wake up. Imagine your life in 5 to 10 years. If you keep doing what you're doing now, what's it likely to look like? Who will you be? What will you regret not trying? What will it feel like to look back at a life that was comfortable enough, but ultimately unfulfilling? So here's my challenge. Don't wait for a crisis. Start listening to that quiet dissatisfaction. Your future self will thank you. Let me know in the comments if you can relate to being comfortably miserable. I know I'm not the only one. And if this was helpful, please like it. And if you want to see more content like this, please hit the subscribe button. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching.